Hello, everyone, and welcome to the KneeDown podcast. My name is Matthew Grant, and with me is the man, Daniel Handover.
Hello.
So, today we are going to discuss everything from the Thai GP. A little bit of a review, winners and losers, a couple of setbacks as well from a couple of riders too. But before we do get into the chaos, let's say, quick reminder to everyone, don't forget, if you're enjoying these podcasts, to like on social media and to follow us in every other place where you need to be, and to give a rating for whatever it is on Apple Podcasts or whatever it may be. We're on everywhere, so wherever you're listening, thanks for listening. But first and foremost, Dan, major talking points from today's race. Now, of course, we've had a little bit of a discussion off camera, but now it's time to discuss on camera and to discuss to our wonderful viewers watching or listening as well. So, Dan, where do you want to start today? Do you want to give us your main visceral reactions of the most memorable moments, the most key points and takeaways of the Thai GP?
Yeah, we've got, there's the main one, which we've got to really dive into straight away, is just Mark. Like, I just absolute dominance. I think there's no real other way to say that. Straight away from practice, from FP1, he was just on it and
On a mission.
he was on a mission completely, and that went all the way through, right up until the Sunday race. So that's probably where, at least for me, one of the biggest storylines, and just could this be setting the scene for the rest of the season? I know it's early days, like, don't get me wrong, it is early days, but he was simply on another level.
He was just thriving in this environment. Factory Ducati colours, Thai GP, won there 2 times before already, add that 3rd time now to his list. Mark on fire. And of course, that's what they scream every single time at the end of every single race, with the Cressini paddock last season, now the Factory Ducati this paddock in this time. But I will question one thing. Now, I think Marquez was absolutely terrific this weekend. There was no one going to stop him. Even if he had probably 3 long lap penalties, I still think he would have won that race today. And even in the sprint, he was on fire. And I will say, I didn't expect that to be so good. Not to that level. But what I will say is that Thai GP is a track that Mark has done very well in the past. He likes the track. He has won there twice before. And is it a case of it's benefiting him because of the circuit? Or is it just that he's on that another level now, and we've really got to agree with the Marquez fans in every single social media post telling me that this season's already finished? That apparently we have to give the trophy to Marc Marquez and then just look at a participation award for the next couple of guys. So, but that's what I'm beginning to see. Excuse me, from this perspective. But we'll go into Kota very soon, because I would like to still ride the momentum of Marquez's extremely impressive performance. But I want to also bring up a little point today from watching the Moto2 race and the Moto3 race. Now, of course, our main focus is MotoGP on this channel. But do you feel that penalties are balanced in MotoGP? So, for example, you watch the Moto3 race and you've seen David Munoz send Luca Lanetta into turn 3 and into the gravel, and he only received a long lap penalty for it. Of course, David wasn't able to do the long lap penalty because he crashed himself. But do you think if you take a rider out, a long lap penalty is sufficient?
No, I suppose no. No, because of the punishment doesn't fit the crime. Because if someone doesn't finish, then it's hard. It depends what the rules say. I'm assuming the rules are, if contact is made, then you get X or Y or something. So the rules are written. It's the same with most motorsports in general. Like, contact gives you X, and sometimes no, that doesn't fit. That doesn't fit the crime. The issue becomes is if you start writing rules and loads of different rules into the situation. Like, if this happens, then this penalty will be given. If this happens, then this other penalty will be given. The problem is you then start to get. It can actually sometimes be a little bit harder, because the grey area gets defined more.
Right,
which,
yeah.
while that does actually seem a little bit easier, and that might seem better, in other instances it isn't.
Yeah, I
Because
agree
then
with you
the
on that one.
grey area is smaller. Do you see what I mean?
And it's going to be even more challenging then to define.
Yeah, because then the stewarding job, no one, it's the job that I've done it a few times, not in real life, but I've done it for, sim racing and stuff. It is probably the most thankless job in motorsport.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, absolutely it is.
It's hateful to do it, and sometimes, because there are situations where you know that you're going to upset one party. You always are.
And you can't please everyone.
No. So it is awkward. I do think, though, that, if something like that happens, then, probably should be a bigger penalty. A long lap is, or a 5-second penalty, whatever it is. Yeah, it's probably not enough. But then if contact is made and it doesn't give, the rider doesn't crash, then, sometimes a long lap penalty is about right where it should be. And then sometimes it's not enough. And sometimes it's too much. It's just, it's such
It is a very
grey
difficult
area.
question. That's why I've seen it obviously happen twice today, Moto 3 and Moto 2. Moto 2 one is a little bit more, it's a bit more questionable, because also at the same time, you don't want to, what's the opposite word to encourage? Just stop riders from making overtakes. You want to encourage that. Yeah, discourage. Thank you very much. It's been a long morning. But you don't want to discourage riders from overtaking, because that's the sport we love. We love that riding and the riders being close together, bumping fairings. So you don't want to take that away. But at the same time, if someone gets taken out, you feel that, well, how can we make that fair? But as you say, it's a grey area. It is a very difficult question to answer. And I think also you've got to take away the human element of the rider involved. So if it's your favourite rider, of course you're going to say, well, this is going to be disgusting. But if it's someone you weren't liking, you were like, oh, well, the penalty's fine. It's okay.
It wasn't. It probably should have been a bigger penalty. But then, I don't know, for other instances, it might not be. Is that do they do it? Do they have rider drive-throughs or ride-throughs?
They will do, but only under extreme situations.
Right.
The last ride-through penalty I could think off the top of my head was when Marquez took out Rossi in Argentina, but that could have been a black flag.
Right.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's been a long time since we've had a ride-through penalty.
Yeah, because, I don't know, maybe they bring that back in more as a...
So if you take a ride-through penalty, that would be sufficient.
Yeah, something like that.
I guess if it's a situation which is also, again, deemed as racing contact, it's a tough area to get into. I don't think I want to get into it, to be quite honest with you.
No, it is. It is an awkward one.
So before we do continue, I would like to just take a moment just to say a big thank you to, or congratulations to Kugan Barlin 7198. He agreed with us on our Trackhouse livery agreement from the last podcast, and he also got the answer to our trivia question, which, a recap, was a rider from Forlì, Italy, had won 2 world I can't remember the top of my head, but rode for 4 MotoGP bikes and had 4 finishes in the top 3 of MotoGP. And the answer was Andrea Dovizioso. So congratulations to Kugan Balin. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But moving on to our next bit then, we'll be answering another trivia question towards the end of the KneeDown podcast, so make sure you listen to the end or skip through. It's entirely up to you. But Dan, talk to me about your most memorable moment of the race. And I'm excited for this because you were really, really energetic about it when we talked about this earlier. And I'm glad we get to just give it to the fans so they can hear it too. Tell me about how you felt during the race today in one particular moment.
Well, I mean, the whole Marquez tyre thing. Well, there's 2, so I've got 2. The first one's the Marquez tyre one.
And how did you react?
So I don't think I've ever screamed loudly at a TV before, like I did then. Like when he backed off, a bit like the commentators, just screaming, going, "What has happened?" Because you don't know in the 2 seconds of seeing it, you don't know. Yeah, that was an oh my god moment. And then as we started to look into, the commentators were starting to talk about it. They were, I think, Jack went down and spoke to Tardozzi pretty quickly.
Yeah, he did. He did very promptly, actually. Fair play to him.
like almost immediately.
Yeah,
I'm
he
sure
would run it.
Davide was watching him coming over going, oh, bugger. And obviously they didn't, well, Davide said he didn't know initially. They didn't know what was happening. I'm pretty sure they would have known
Yes.
relatively quickly that it was the tyres. And that, I've said this before, I will say it again, that tyre rule is shit. It is.
Yeah,
it's just
it's not
such
great.
it's such a stupid...
I'm okay with the rule, but it needs to
The
be
rule
with
is
more
fine,
leeway. It needs to
but-
be with more leeway and understanding of the situation. Like you
Yeah,
can't force a rider into doing something that that making them slow back or not be in a fight or maybe to hold back. No, that's not what we're trying to do here. We want racing to be tight and compact, not
The thing is,
separated.
it did, however, it obviously did actually make the racing better, quote unquote, because
yeah,
I mean, Mark
true.
would have won by by miles. So it technically made the racing better. It's still a crap rule.
For the one
still-
time, it made racing better.
But then he had to do it before again. So last year Monk did it. He had to pull back. I think it was behind Digia because
Yeah,
of
in
the
Assen.
same thing, because of the tyre pressures in Assen.
Yeah.
Why is that rule is there? And it's not done it often. I think this is probably actually no. I think didn't Pecco have to do something like that last year as well? Like a lot of they're always
There's been a
managing
few penalties as well. Riders
Yeah, there
finishing the
has.
line. Yeah, I've done what
Was
I've
it
done.
Quartararo got one?
Yeah,
last-
14-second penalty. It's a
Just
monumental amount of time.
It's just such it's just such a weird rule. I don't understand why it needs to be managed. I agree. Just do it in a different way. I wonder if now Simon Crafar is in that type of thing. I wonder if he's going to have any say regarding the FIM and
Yeah, it
what
could
they
be.
change. I think
It could be looked into and sort of adjusted. But I think it's also down to the teams to decide on the tyre pressure before they go into the race.
But the thing is, you can't. They don't know. Like they don't know
No, they
what's going to
don't.
happen. They could have all the data in the world, and they make a decision, and the track temp drops 3 degrees, and that's
Sure.
it. Well, they
I do
can't. They don't
appreciate
have a
that.
magic. They don't have a crystal ball. They can't see into the future. It's
No,
just
I get that, yeah. But other 20-plus riders didn't have that problem. You're thinking of devil's advocate, trying to
yeah,
Cam's
okay.
point, you know what I mean?
they are probably getting. It's up to them to get close and to
It must be on the limit, though.
be quick
because-
as yeah.
Yeah,
Be as
exactly.
close as they can. I just bin it off or do something different for God's sake. So that was my first. The second one I think is just Ogura. Wow.
Yes.
What a
The new Japanese star.
what a first round from Ogura.
Was it
He
expected?
was just not at all.
And I agree.
Not at all. I was watching the Aprilias looked good though. The Aprilias didn't look too bad. Like,
Yeah,
the
they looked
Aprilias
okay.
looked
Raul
fine.
Fernandez was in the top 10 for a while,
Yeah, Raul was doing good. Bez was okay.
making his way through, yeah.
They were all just doing okay. Ogura though, just where did
Yeah.
he come from?
Sensational. All that
It was
experience
incredible.
of all those years of racing in that track has done him wonders. And something I'd seen today is regarding the temperature. He said he felt absolutely fine during those ridiculously high temperatures where other riders were struggling. So maybe being in those climates of going, well, it seems normal to me. Raul Fernandez's bike is ready to explode. He's having to
ready
go
to
into the
detonate.
pits. And Ogura's like, this is fine.
This
I
is
like
fine.
it.
I can deal with this.
He's so chilled. He's so casual.
Oh, it was good. Ogura was just if he can keep something like that up. I mean, yeah, very, very impressive. Very impressive. He just needs to, we'll see what he can do in. We'll see what we can do in Argentina. I would have loved in the sprint. I'd have loved him to make a send on Pecco. That'd have been so funny.
It would
That'd
have
have been
funny.
so good. I'd have been brilliant. To be
It
honest,
would have been incredible for
I
Ogura.
loved it. I loved with what Pedro did last year. Like in the first few
Yes.
rounds. Okay, he was never going to, tyres. He couldn't, he didn't know how to manage the tyres, but just going absolutely 110% right from the word go the whole season, or at least the first 5 or 6 rounds. I loved it. It was so much
It's
fun to
refreshing,
watch.
isn't it?
It is. It was so much fun to watch. Someone that, for lack of a better word, didn't care about tyre life at all. because Pedro didn't last year. I'd have loved to have seen, Ogura have a bit of a go. But a fourth and fifth, can't argue with
Marvellous.
that, can you?
I think he's just showed so much maturity in one race weekend, from being in a situation where anyone would probably get that little bit of butterflies and think, oh my God, I could tack a two-time MotoGP world champion here. I could send it. He wasn't quite close enough, but he sat there and he learned. He picked everything up from Pecco, and he just was a sponge, learning all that and just getting all that data and understanding how Pecco is riding. And it's genius. That will pay dividends in the future. But that has been Ogura throughout his entire career. Just quiet, calculated, calm, collected. Brilliant. And I think he's going to fit in so well. I will be honest, though. I underestimated. I didn't think he'd be that good in the one round. I know it is only the one round. I know it's circumstances with him racing in Thailand many times before, since 2015. But you got to say, I think I'm really, really positive on Ogura, and I'm really pleased. So I'm glad you mentioned that. I think he's definitely one of the biggest moments of the weekend. But nothing comes close to how damn good Marc Marquez was, which in a way I'm a little bit sad, because Alex Marquez deserves way more praise than he's getting at the minute, because he's been overshadowed again by his brother. How many years is this going to happen? Let Alex Marquez win. I want to see an Alex Marquez win. He deserves it so much.
He does. Yeah.
He really does.
I candidly forgot to put in my notes here. Yeah, I mean, Alex Marquez just, well, you mentioned, to be fair, you mentioned it in the predictions. You did say that Alex Marquez was going to be up there. Again, it didn't quite get the win, but...
No, didn't get the win.
Was absolutely on it. Because he's on, obviously, the GP24.
Yeah. Which is a proven excellent bike.
Well, it's a cracking bike. Probably, arguably, if not one of the best MotoGP bikes ever made.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alex Marquez did so well. I'm assuming what will happen, like it did last year, is there'll be upgrades that come to the 25, and it will be harder and harder for the GP24s to stay there. But very, very impressive. I'd love to have seen Alex win. I thought he was going to. I really thought Alex was going to win.
I was hoping there was going to be some sort of exchange, but it was Marquez toying with his dinner. He just eat up, and not just mess around and move it around the plate. Just get it done. But I'm kind of glad he did it like that, because it did add that tension and the genuine question of, can Alex actually beat his brother? I mean, the story of the Marquez versus Marquez situation is awesome. I've been waiting for, when did Marquez join? 2019? His brother, maybe 2018? Might be 2019. No, it can't be 19. It was 20, because 19, it was Lorenzo in the team with Marquez. So I think it was 2020. Okay. So anyway, I've been waiting a good 5 years to see them battle. And the most I had was in Portimao, when it was the battle of the LCR Honda versus the factory Honda, or was it maybe the Honda versus the Gresini Ducati. It was fun. And I thought, I can't wait to see this in the future, when both of them are at their level and they can fight each other. Julian Marquez is going to be going mental in that garage. Their dad is going to be going crazy.
Yeah.
And it's going to be amazing. So I am really pleased for Alex. I'm glad he's up there, and I'm glad he's showing his worth. And also Gresini are getting sponsors now too, which means more money and more investment into that team as well, which is always nice to see.
It's good for a satellite team. You need the investment from a satellite team, unless you've
very important.
Yeah,
so I think we've touched base on it already, but grand picture, Dan, winners and losers of the Thai GP.
Ooh, some winners.
Winners seem obvious, but
winners are obvious. Losers are still quite obvious, I would say. Obviously, winners Marc, Ogura, like those two, fantastic. I would say there's lots of winners, but Alex, both the Marquez brothers, Ogura, honestly, Honda overall. Just a winner as a team. They showed up. They have improved so much. I thought, and we were saying this in the preseason test podcast, and I've said this before, I thought, no, this is just Honda. This is just Sepang numbers. They don't mean anything with these tests. Everyone said, Honda's made 7/10 up over them. Like, no, bollocks. Doesn't mean it. I'm glad that I've been proven wrong. It's amazing to see Honda up there. And because it was Zarco, was the sprint race. I need to have a look at the results because I've already forgotten the results from yesterday.
Zarco and Marini both finished in the points today.
Yep.
And
yes,
that was true. So Joan Mir finished in the points with Zarco.
Mir actually finished a race.
Well, albeit the sprint, but
still, he finished.
Yeah, it's good. It's an
and
improvement.
With the points. That in itself is enough of a, Honda, well done. Round of applause for you.
It is. And don't forget, Joan Mir was still saying the bike is still difficult to ride.
Well, yes.
And he's still done it, so fair play to him.
Very, very fair. It's nice. It's nice that happened. So Mir was 9th, Zarco was 10th, and there was for the race. You were right. So it was Zarco. Zarco was 7th.
Marvelous.
7.
He was battling with some good names in there too. Say that again.
P7 on a Honda, a point-scoring position, nearly top 5. Not top 5, but nearly top 5.
Do you reckon he'll get the top 5 this year then at the right track in the right situation?
Honestly, the right conditions, I reckon there's a podium for Honda. I genuinely reckon there's a podium for Honda somewhere.
Get on the bingo list.
I put Honda will be on a podium. That's my. I've got a.
I could see
I don't know why.
Too.
I just got a really. I'm
it doesn't seem
developing this really.
Now.
No, it doesn't. I think before it was like Dan, you're mad.
Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch.
There's more of a chance. Don't get me wrong, still highly unlikely, but you never know. I'm developing a really a big soft spot for Honda now. Just over the last few weeks. So those are my probably biggest. Do you want to run through your winners and then we'll go through the losers?
Yep, I'll go for my winners. So I've got to agree with you, Ogura, Alex Marquez, absolutely fine. I don't think we need to reiterate what we've said about them already, but I'm going to shift ever so slightly to a more brighter colour. Frankie Morbidelli. Take away the incident in the qualifying in the practice, that stopped Pecco from going to Q1. Typical Frankie, couple of rides in front of him slowing, couple of rides in front of him slowing down as well. Yeah, it's not great. But he did extremely well, considering he had that 3 grid place penalty to be carving his way through the pack and positioning himself behind Pecco Bagnaia as the next best thing after the factory duo and Alex Marquez. I thought he did really well. And I think if he's clicking that quickly now, on the same bike he had last year, of course, and he's right up there straight away, we could see some good things for Frankie. Podium last season as well. And sorry, my camera went a bit crazy then. Yeah, it was a podium for Frankie last season. And I can't see why he can't get a few more podiums this season as well. But I'd also like to say as a winner, it's a bit of a stretch. But I don't want to look at just the result. But Jack Miller this weekend has been fantastic. Qualified as the highest Yamaha on the second row and was in the top 6 before he crashed out of the sprint and was fighting for a good solid position in the race for 80% of it. I think I have a note here. It was a particular... Yeah, I wrote here, Miller fighting but getting beat up. And that was the note I made because he got battered by Fabio Di Gianantonio in turn 4. And I think when he rejoined the circuit, he got pushed off again. And Miller just got beat up in those middle of the section. But before then, to the only Yamaha in the top 10, the only Yamaha in the top 5, he deserves massive praise for just jumping onto that bike and adapting to it quickly. Because I've not seen Fabio Quartararo, I've not seen Alex Rins, and I haven't seen Miguel Oliveira. Sorry, I couldn't even remember his name. It's been a forgettable weekend for Miguel Oliveira, and I can't believe it. I thought Miguel would be a shoo-in on that Yamaha. I think I said this last time, and just nothing's happened. So Jack Miller deserves a heap of praise as far as I'm concerned. I'm really impressed with the Aussie. Still, people don't give him the credit for what he's doing. I know you're not particularly fond of Jack Miller's tyre life, but he's getting there.
He's got pace. He just needs to stop crashing. Like, what did he say in an interview? Oh, I don't know where the limit is. That's not a good thing. You need to know where the limit is.
Yeah, true. But he's pushing it.
Yeah, he's pushing it, but the problem is he'll push it, and he'll go, oh, this feels great, and then the front end tucks, and he'll go, oh, no, what happened there? Jack,
I see your point. On. But he's up there, and he's getting a camera time for the sponsors.
The point of it is, you're right, he is up there, made some really good progress, seems to be more comfortable than I thought. Yes, very good. I would just please like to see him just maintain this level of, staying on the bike. I don't know how many times he crashed last season, and I know he was having. He's never like the Michelin. Was it like he's never like the Michelin? Was it the Michelin tire or something? Like he's never been a big fan of the front end or something or other.
He's just never been great at conserving tires, to be honest. I mean, there has been a couple of times when he was on the factory Ducati, and he was pretty good at it. He was also excellent in the wet conditions too. Hot temperatures like that had never suited Jack particularly well in those with the Michelins.
No, I would like to just, if he can keep this up, showed every other Yamaha rider up today. Well, the whole weekend, like the sprint and the race, no one was anywhere. Rins may have not even. I don't think Rins should have probably bothered neither Quartararo, to be honest. Like, what was the point of them turning up?
I don't remember if Rins finished in the points or not.
Nope. Fabio got the last point. He was 15th.
Right. And
26 seconds behind.
Yeah. I don't know what happened there because Fabio looked so strong in Sepang. We did say, though, Sepang is a Yamaha favourite track, so I guess we kind of expected a little bit of a drop-off, but not this bad. I'm hoping it's a blip. Yamahas never do particularly well when it's really hot either. And that's
not ideal.
They've been struggling for what he says. Sorry, I hope it's spoke over.
Which is not ideal when half the calendar is in very hot conditions. But
yeah, exactly.
No, gloss over that.
2018, 17, 19 of watching the Yamahas of Rossi, Vinales, Morbidelli all complaining when it gets too hot, they can't do anything. Cloudy, they're in there, they're fighting, but it's too hot, they forget it. So who is your losers for the Thai GP then? Did you mention your losers?
Yeah, I was going to say, I honestly, biggest KTM. Where have they gone? They've just disappeared off the face of the earth. KTM are not. I don't even know. Maverick is. It's just atrocious. Honestly, it's not. You know what I said about Maverick turning up for Kota? I retract that statement immediately. That's
two more rounds, though. He might be.
No, I don't think Maverick's turning up for that. That KTM just doesn't look fast.
Yeah,
just doesn't look that quick. I know the sprint looked better. I think the sprint did look a little bit better. I'm just looking at the result. Yeah, so Binder was 8th and Pedro Acosta was 6th. I thought, okay, that's not too bad. Let's see if we can see what they can make. Well, but the thing is, they weren't. That's all they were doing last year. That's all they were doing there last year, though, as well, right? So, they were always that 6th, 5th, because it was all just Ducatis up ahead, wasn't it? It was all just it was the Ducati Cup, which it is now,
yeah,
and then it was the KTM. But that race, the main race, I don't know where they went. Although in saying that, the slight caveat to that is Enea for the race.
Yeah, I haven't seen any news about what Bastianini did in that race. I've seen his name constantly rising in the timing screen, and the only thing I can think of is superior tyre life. He is excellent at keeping the tyres, and that's what he does. But is that a case of everyone's tyre life just dropped, or maybe the exhaustion from the heat? I'm not sure, but I hope it's because Enea found something. But this weekend has not given me any indication that Enea's happy or anyone else. We were talking earlier, 27 seconds was Enea slower in the sprint?
Yeah, that's insane. 27 seconds slower than the sprint race that he won.
Yeah.
That's
I just don't know how that's happened.
That's not, well, that KTM
can't be bad. It can't be that bad. It could be the learning process and getting used to it.
Yeah, but Binder, where were they? But where was, I know Acosta crashed.
Yeah, but he wasn't high up anyway when he crashed. I had the note.
He was 6th. I think it was 6th.
Yeah.
But Binder finished 8th. But Binder finished just shy of 20 seconds behind.
Yeah, that's what. This is the rider who was involved in the World Championship in 2023. We've seen one podium from Brad Binder last season. The KTM has not been good now for 2 seasons. Pedro Acosta on the gas did heroics last season, but we have not seen anything. This is why I'm always confused when people have a go are so bad at Miller, when you have to have a look at Brad Binder's. Yeah, he finished 5th overall, but this is a far cry from the Brad Binder we've seen before. And I don't think it's Brad. I think it's generally the KTM.
Yeah, but also let's just now. I'm not necessarily defending the KTM but where did Miller finish all of the time compared to every other KTM?
Yeah, he definitely the slowest. Well,
Miller
no,
was battling. Miller was dealing with Miller was dealing with Augusto Fernandez. That's not a good
that's so
the
bizarre.
factory KTM.
Yeah, for the factory KTM as well, it was kind of interesting because you had Brad Binder who didn't have a great season to his standards, but he didn't finish 15th or 14th in the championship like Miller did. So Brad Binder did everything he could to get the best out of that bike, but unfortunately the bike can't give him any more. And you see Brad, even now, the KTM looks bulky. The KTM just doesn't look like it's smooth, as you say. And I'm watching Brad Binder into turn 1. Brad Binder's got a great riding style. He's all like sideways, a bit like Sam Lowe's was. Yeah. He's awesome. But in turn 1, he looked so not under control. It was shaking, it was chattering.
Oh, the chattering.
I made a few notes here about KTM chatter, and it was pretty much every lap I'd seen it. A little note just to say the chatter on those KTMs. It looks horrific, and he seemed the way Pedro Acosta crashed. Because of the same way, the bike's just sort of like...
And then the front just lets go.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was quite funny watching... You watch the guys coming down
from the television perspective.
And Acosta just went... just exit stage left.
Well, and he was all right. He was still keen to get the bike back up, though.
He was just holding on his knee for about 5 minutes. That's quite funny, I have to admit.
Would have been one hell of a save if it just pops up, though.
Oh, yeah, that would have been the save of the century. But the fact that he kept on it for so long, going, no, I can save this. Like, Pedro, you go 3 miles
it's gone, mate.
You're not saving that.
It's gone. Let it go.
Yeah, but no, it's the champ. Yeah, KTM for me is definitely... Yeah, they've got to do something relatively soon. They can't just rely on Bastianini just being able to deal with tyre life. One, because he is nowhere for the first half of the race. And, I don't know.
I'm not positive on it now. I feel that this has been another step back. Or, well, I don't think it's they've taken a step back, it's that the others have taken another step forward. And I think that's the position that KTM find themselves in now, whether it's due to the financial woes or not. Apparently that's sorted now. But I don't know.
Sorted.
Yeah.
In quotation marks. That's just marketing fluff.
Yeah, please continue to invest in us because we've sorted now.
Yeah, we've sorted it. Just don't worry about what happens behind closed doors, but we've sorted it. We're telling everyone it's sorted. It's just, that's fine. Leave it at that.
Just Pit Byron with his thumbs up.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
So then moving on to the next round then. Thai GP, done and dusted. Argentina. The track that hasn't been on the calendar since 2023, I think it was. What are you thinking for that one? Have you got any particular predictions or just any sort of thoughts that you want to discuss about the second round of the MotoGP season?
Yeah, I would. I'm going to say there's probably 3 main things. And I'm going to say Mark to win. I think that's, I'm relatively confident in saying
it's a good choice. He is excellent to that circuit.
I remember you saying as well that certainly has influenced my decision. I don't know if it's going to be as dominant of a performance? Potentially. I mean, if it's a track that he really likes and it's not been on the calendar for a while, it could be. Because I'm assuming because it's not been on the calendar for a while, there's going to be less grip.
I'm not sure what other championships use that track. I'm not sure.
If it's a lower grip level, then I stand even more to my mark.
I totally agree with you on that. Well, look at Aragon last season.
I mean, exactly. It was just running a different race. This one is going to be more of a I'm not, gambling away a decision here, but I think there's going to be 2 Hondas in the top 10 for both the sprint and the main.
Okay.
That's why
I don't think that's too unrealistic.
Yeah, I was going to initially say top 5, and then I went, no, that's silly. Let's
That would be too
not
far,
go that bad. Let's, but
Johan Zarco, he likes it.
It's something about Zarco. There is something about Zarco where that's actually the person we talked about who may get, when I said Honda will get a podium. I reckon Zarco's going to get a podium.
In Argentina?
Something about,
or this season,
maybe not Argentina, but I think at some point.
Yeah,
at some
that's
point
the
there's
safest
going to be,
bet, I would say.
There's going to be something there. I would say Mir, but I don't know. I don't know. Zarco is my favorite for someone. So yeah, 2 Hondas in the top 10 for both sprint and race. Now, I potentially am contradicting myself here for bashing on KTM for the last 10 minutes. However, I have something that, based on purely the race that happened, the main Grand Prix today, I reckon Enea is going to be in the top 10 for both. If he gets that tyre there, if he keeps that tyre, and he's a bit more comfortable, he's got one race under his belt with the KTM, I think, we could see some late charges. So I'm going to say that those are my potential predictions.
If it's really hot in Argentina too, and we have a similar situation where riders are burning their tyres up and the life of the tyres are not there, maybe Enea could, have that sort of like late charge like he did in Thailand. So
I'm having a look at the weather. When is the
14th of March? 2 weeks.
Argentina weather. Just have a look. Oh,
What's
it's
it
pretty,
like in a minute? I imagine it's not as hot as Thailand, but
not as hot as Thailand. What was Thailand? Like 40?
That was like 40 degrees.
Yeah, it's bonkers. It's not that hot. I think it's 31, 32, 25, 29.
But if on the off chance it does skyrocket like 35, 36, 37, 38, it could play into the hands of Ogura as well, actually. He likes the hot temperatures. So that could be an interesting one. I do feel very strongly that Marco Bezzecchi will do well in Argentina.
Yeah, you said that last time.
I said that also for Thailand, and it didn't really happen. So I'm not sure on what to think about that, but I still feel he's very good at Argentina. He likes the track. It's a possibility. I know Brad Binder was good at that track too, but I just don't see KTM's being on the podium for a while. Maybe Pedro will pull something out of the bag somewhere, but I'm just not convinced.
I think over a 1 lap pace, like a 1 lap, Pedro is
for a decent qualifier.
Yeah, like over a 1 lap and over a sprint race, Pedro is probably the top
Could
KTM.
Be.
Well, I suppose he's technically the top KTM in the race. It's just if Bastianini has a good qualifying, because again, where did Bastianini qualify? Where did he go?
18th.
18th, and he managed to get to 8th. I know there was a couple of people.
Might have been 19th. I think he had an 11 grid position advantage at the end of the
10th in Q1. So that would be 19th, 20th.
20. Yeah.
So P20 and going up to P8 like that is
wow. It was even more
obscene levels of.
That is crazy.
It's impressive, right? Really impressive. If he can just get, even if it's 12th or 13th in qualifying, in the
it's
race,
a better
at
chance
least,
than 20th.
It is, Matt, and it's almost a guaranteed chance because of how good he is on tyres that he can go through.
I would definitely put Morbidelli in there. I think I'm trying to decide between Alex Marquez and Thingy, because I think it's going to be Marquez, Pecco, and I think we're going to see this a hell of a lot all season now. It's going to be Mark, Pecco, Pecco, Mark, Pecco, Pecco, Mark, and Alex Marquez once, twice. I think we'll get Alex Marquez in there a couple of times as well, but I'm not going to do the whole ritual of the spiel again. Because we could get a Frankie Morbidelli in there too, which, fingers crossed. So I think I'd probably say it's going to be Mark, Pecco, Morbidelli. I think I'll go for those three for the either the featured or sprint. I don't know how well Digia is holding up at the minute. He's still a little bit battered from his injury, so I'm not going to expect too much from that side of the VR46 garage. But Frankie Morbidelli, I would like to see back up there again. But I feel that Alex Marquez has got a hefty ton of momentum right now. I can't. Maybe Sepang, maybe the year before, was the only time I recall a double podium weekend for Alex Marquez, both sprint and race. Can't think of another one on top of my head. So I'd like to see him continue with that momentum and to just push and get maybe another podium. I'm just having a little look back now because I actually just want to make sure. Yeah, it was Brad Binder who won the sprint in 2023 with Marco Bezzecchi and Luca Marini, which, of course, they were on the VR46 Ducati back then, not the Honda for Luca Marini. And in the race, it was Bezzecchi who won with Johan Zarco in second. And this was a wet race where Alex Marquez finished on the podium. And I'm thinking Johan Zarco because if we get rain, he could replicate that performance on the Honda and he'll be right up there. But I also like to think...
Sorry?
2023.
Okay.
So that was that was the last time we went to Argentina.
Because that was Zarco on the Pramac, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
The Prima Pramac Ducati. And Alex was on the Grassini for the first season, I think. So, yeah, I think it's a good choice between those. I know Fabio likes the track. It does suit it because of the certain nature of the corners and stuff. Where they lose time is that massive straight. It's a huge straight. But for everywhere else, it's very twisty, fast and flowing.
In saying that, the Yamaha didn't look that slow in a straight line.
To be fair, no. I guess that's probably a stigma I'm still attaching to the Yamaha after so many years. But I still feel it's not as quick as the other bikes.
Probably not, but it wasn't getting gapped like it was before. I don't know what the speed traps were. I don't know if we can see those in the results.
You might be right, because I think in the testing I've seen a speed trap, and the Yamahas weren't that far behind.
They're not that bad. Like they are quicker than they were. Because I remember when Jack was fighting Ogura, because that pretty is not slow, is it? From what I understand.
No. It's not as quick as the Ducati, but
no, it's not as quick as the Ducati, but they were relatively even with the toe. Even when Ogura had the toe, it wasn't getting a lot of. What was it? Was it last year? I think was it Aragon, like Fabio and Pecco.
Oh,
and they came out of the final corner and just Pecco disappeared. It was like Fabio's on a Moto2 bike. It just left him.
Well, that's why the stigma anymore. For me is still always there. It's still in my mind all the time. It's just that the blue anymore. Bikes never seem to go well. And if they also struggle to get the tyre hooked up, which causes them to lose time. So if they got the tyre hooked up beautifully, like the way Marquez was doing it out to turn 3 and into turn 4 in Thailand today, you just see the way they just come out of the corner. It's straight bang. Where, the others, Alex Marquez towards the end, the rear tyre was beginning to go. But that's the Yamaha's 90% of the time. Their rear tyre doesn't really click as well as the others. There's too much power in that in the rear of the bike and the torque. So I think that's my predictions for it. I'm gonna stick with what I was saying. Pecco and either Morbidelli. Yeah, I'll go that. I won't that. I'm not going to change it too many times. So I think that's pretty much about it, isn't it, for what we've got written down today? Have you got any final thoughts or anything you'd like to add, or maybe something we've missed in today's podcast?
No, I don't think there is. We're all still, now that we've got, I'm excited to do more of these podcasts now, one after every race, because there is going to be lots more to talk about as the race goes on. But this is a great first start, something that we can really, really build off of. So I'm excited to do the next one.
Me too. I think one thing we will discuss at some point is the absence of the world champion, of course, because we are feeling the impact of not having the world championship. It feels like it's not complete yet without seeing that number one on the grid. It's weird not seeing Pecco without the number one, but no one else having it. But maybe that's ominous. Maybe that's what we'll see next season. No one will have the number one because the number 93 won't change the number one. Who knows?
We'll see.
Or maybe we'll see someone else. An absolute surprise out of nowhere. But it's unlikely.
Yeah,
Factory Ducati are already clinking champagne, I would imagine.
We'll see.
But before we do go, big thank you for everyone to listening. I do have one more trivia question, ladies and gentlemen. And this is inspired by Ogura. Now, I wrote a note down here at the bottom here, Dan, and I said, we spoke about Ogura and his excellent debut, which we have done. And to be honest, I don't think it's unrealistic to say he might finish on the podium this season. There's every chance in the right situation. He was only one position away in the sprint. So it's definitely possible. So the question I'm going to ask the fans of KneeDown is, can you remember the last time a Japanese rider finished on a MotoGP podium? What I will tell you is it has been a while. So think back to a long, long time ago, and you will get your answer. And the answer is a surprising one. So be double check, triple check if you have to get the answer to that question.
Look now.
It's an interesting one because I actually wrote the question down for this one, and I was wrong. So when I checked it, I was like, oh my goodness, yeah, that happened. I can't believe I forgot about that happening. So then I got the answer right. Well, as long as you guys get it right, that's all that really matters. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it then, Dan. Thanks for joining me as always. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, any final remarks?
No, just thank you everyone for listening and watching. And as always, if you've got any questions, feedback, comments, do let us know via social platforms. And we will see you all very, very soon.
Thanks for watching or listening, wherever you may be.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.